So this video is going to be me talking about continuous probability, which is a very unusual kind of probability that you cannot use usual methods to solve. So in the STEM challenge, the question I gave is if person 1 is choosing between 0 and 400, any real number, and person 2 is choosing between 0 and 800. What will be the probability that person 2 is going to choose a bigger number than person 1? So these type of problems actually appear a lot in AMC AMC competitions, like other math competitions as well. So there are two ways to solve it. I'm going to use a more intuitive way to solve this. So let's say we draw an XY plane. So this is person 1's number. And this is person 2's number. So this box represents the total number of combinations that they can choose their numbers from. And of course, so for example, let's say this point 800 and 400, it means person 1 chooses 400, person 2 chooses 800, and then you choose like somewhere like here. That means person 2 chose 400 and person 1 chose 0. So we choose this point. So what we want to find is when person 2 chooses a bigger number than person 1. So when y is bigger than x. So this is y, this is x. So it's essentially this line. So this line represents when person 1 chooses the same number as person 2. Any point below this line represents person 1 choosing a bigger number than person 2, which is not what we want, because we want person 2 choosing a bigger number than person 1. So any point above this line is going to be the probability we're looking for. So this area here. And the total cases is this whole area. And then this is the denominator, and the area of this trapezium is the denominator. So we can see that this triangle is 1/4 of the whole area, so the probability is basically 3/4. This is how we can geometrically solve this. Another way we can solve this is just by splitting the ranges. So for example, let's say we can split person 2 into these two ranges. So he can choose either from 0 to 400 or 400 to 800. The probability, if he chooses 400 to 800, then he automatically wins, because no matter what number person 1 chooses, it's always going to be bigger than person 1. So the probability of him choosing this range is a half. But when he chooses this range, then they will have the same range. So the probability of him having a bigger number is symmetrical to having a small number. So it's, and again, a half of him winning if he chooses this range. So it's a half times a half. So this a half represents the probability of him choosing this range, so 0 to 400. This probability represents the chance of him winning if he chooses this range. So we essentially get the same answer, so 3/4. So that's the answer.